What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of not an episode, but an episode of Let's Take a Walk. Um, I hope everybody had an awesome week. I definitely did. And as always, I know the same old joke. I went to sleep on Sunday. I woke up. It was Friday. It was a mad blur. It was mad crazy. But here we are, and we all made it safe. So we thank God for that. Tonight, as usual, we have the most interesting, business-minded, talented, gifted people that grace the marketplace. We have one of those individuals on here tonight. We have Miss V Brown. She is an entrepreneur. She is a youth liaison. You name it, she does it. And tonight we're going to discuss her journey, her experiences in the marketplace, and how it has changed her, how it has strengthened her, empowered her, whatever the case may be. For those of you who may not be familiar with Miss V and her movement, I'm going to give her the floor and allow her to kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background to who she is and some of the things that she has going on. All right. So with that being said, Miss V, you got the floor.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Mike, for inviting me to your platform. First
Absolutely.
and foremost, that is a humble as I can say, and I am truly blessed to have you reach out and be able to do this with and for you. It's no problem. I love it. From where I come from a small town, 386 Blimp, Palatka, Florida. East Palatka, H2O is where I came from. So I come from a very small town. I'm very versatile. I traveled a lot, went to school, things of that nature. My entrepreneurship goes far back as 16 years old. I started working at 16 at St. John's River Water Management District in Human Resources. That's where it all began, where I was at the young age of 16 years old recording job lines for public dissemination. And if you know anything about the water district, that was one of the main jobs to have here outside of Georgia Pacific. So when I was there, working there, a lot of those women, Audrey Gainey, things of that nature, brought me into human resources. That's how I got that backdrop with learning about that when getting HR generalist at PRC sites and things of that nature. I'm also a youth liaison. When I say that, I've been licensed since 2002. A lot of people don't even know that, didn't realize that, but I've been licensed in 2002. I keep up with the 2000 with all of my licenses. I just, in fact, may not operate in it or may not. Just depends on what realm they need me in. Here lately, I've been dabbling in clothes, fashion. Queen Vinci is my line. Book the Look is something that I have where I get people dressed. I look at their demographic and I see what it is I think fits them, and we go from there. So it's a little, again, it's Jill of my skills. There's, y'all call it jack of y'all trades, but some people have masters of none. I literally can say whatever it is that needs to be done. That's why I'm a consultant first and foremost, because no one knows what a consultant does. That's why we get to charge so much, because at this point we are what it is you need us to get done. There's no such thing as what can I do. It's let me get right back to you, and I will figure it out. So with that being said, there's Queen Vinci, Book the Look, New Life 360 photo booth, which we all know what that is. That's the new thing, the spin that's going around that everybody loves. Everything just makes you totally unique. To be able to turn your passion into a profit is a great thing. And that's where I am right now in my life at this point.
Perfect. Perfect. So let's start from the beginning. Like what usually when I have entrepreneurs on this platform, usually they tell me that there was something in the game that was missing, and they somehow fill that void.
Right.
Was that true for you? Like when you look out at the marketplace and on the genre of all the things that you're into, did you see something missing, or did you just admire it so much that you just had to be involved in it? What gave you that itch? What made you, so passionate about what you're doing?
Okay, what made me passionate about what I'm doing. Okay, what it is you're right. It's something that was missing. Everyone has a voice, but everybody can't use it. So I came into play with using my voice. I wasn't always this way vocal. I'm, believe it or not, a introverted extrovert. So I come out of my shell when it's time to speak. I speak when being spoken to. When it's time to say checkmate, that's when I speak. So
Okay.
In reference to being the youth liaison, I started out at RCMA and working there. And then after having children, when you start having your own children, it's like, okay, I got to take a step back. And kids are my heartstring. They pull on it very heavy. And so I speak predominantly for them and to them. And when I started at the TDF Center in 2010, and I was working as a center coordinator. And I knew something, we come from a small town, like you're familiar with Palatka, where we don't have a busing system. We don't have a cabbing system. We don't have a YMCA. We don't have these things. So what I did was I opened a youth center shortly thereafter in 2012 because I saw that there was a need. And there was a need in our Black community as well as our African, in our Caucasian community, all over. There was a demographical need for people to be able to get on people's level. I have the capability, contrary to popular belief, I'm 43 years old, but I can talk to a 12-year-old and I can talk to a 67-year-old. So wherever I need to be, I meet the need. And so with going into the youth center, which was called the Ward Zone downtown, I offered it was called an indoor recreational safe haven. And that was where I would pick kids up from school. All of this out of my own pocket. It was nonprofit. No one was pouring into me. No one was giving me money. I was paying that $2,000 mortgage downtown Palatka because, that was the it place to be. So that's where I wanted to make sure that the parents knew that the kids were safe. We often judge parents about what they don't know. But me, myself, personally, being from a parent as well, young, at 17 years old, where we started teen parenting in high school. And I'm not bragging about that, but there I was, 17 years old, married in high school with a son. And that wasn't room or gratification for me to terminate my pregnancy. I just didn't see it. On the same realm, I'm going to educate because what we lack is education. So with that being said, I brought it into a forefront to where those kids could come to me and they would understand that they could speak to me at any level. But my first and foremost, my intuition, and for me, it's for the parent. It's me reaching out and me getting with these kids and in their heads is so that I can help their parents understand them. And it's not me trying to shrink them. It's me trying to get the parent to see from a kid's point of view and vice versa. My children teach me everything. And I have kids in upwards of 25, 21. They're all college students, graduates, and things of that nature. And anybody that came through my realm, I kind of take them on as my very own. And we've lacked that here and with the newer generation of being in education. So what I decided I would do, you can't in fact ask a mother who is a young mother that hasn't had the proper education, or, you can't blame them from what they don't know. So I took it into consideration to open a youth center and say, hey, let me get some high school students. Let me get some college students. Let them get hours, credit hours. Let's go ahead and tutor these kids and get them where they need to be. In the interim, I made learning fun. I gave them an outlet on Friday nights, Saturday nights. We were dressing up. We had theme parties. So they were partying way back then, those baby boomers that were in my era, including my own children. So at 25 right now, my son is like, we're all partied out. We did that when I was 12, 13 years old. But it was an accolade. It was, you get me that progress report. You get me those good grades, those A's, those B's, sometimes even a C, because I'm patting you on the back for your effort and your trying, because I seen from whence you came. Back then, we had Hooked on Phonics. I was even bringing the old stuff back because I believe in if it's not old, don't fix it. So we were doing that. And that's how we tapped into that. And I love it. And I still do it now, just going around to different places, being invited, speaking into our youth lives, doing what it is that I can do. Because, again, we can't blame a parent who doesn't have. My own mother didn't have but a fifth grade education. So how could she teach me calculus? She couldn't. So with that being said, we don't shun nor will we frown at the parent who can or cannot. What we do is we try to assist with how we can do it without making them feel less than. And that's where I filled that void way back then. And I still do it today, just more privately. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I had to mute on my fault. Being in a small area like Palatka, right? How hard is it? How much of a challenge is it for you to get innovative information, coming in to keep things fresh, because as we know, trends change, styles change, modes of thinking change. Everything is evolving. We got so many things influencing us, like, of course, social media, the biggest thing, um, music, we got, culture, we got, even church, even spirituality is evolving. All these things are changing. So how much of a challenge is it for you to be able to keep up with what's going on and be able to effectively move within it?
To be able to effectively move within it is simply because I have to stay involved. I stay in tune. I'm quite nosy when it comes to the youth. So when I say figuring out, staying with trends and things of that nature, I have, again, a 25-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, then I have a 12-year-old. So I'm in every gap. So
Okay.
I'm in the know. And to be in the know, you have to incline your ear. Kind of like the pastor tells you to incline your ear. That's me. Wholeheartedly, I just ask God to allow me to be a willing vessel, and to do it non-judgingly. Through my many admitted mistakes, through my own lifestyle, it has helped me to be able to navigate the waters when I see something familiar and be able to intercede and say, hey, that this is going to lead here. I can't force it upon you, but this is going to lead here. Being from this small town, it is very hard because you're pigeonholed. A lot of my people that I talk to, that I cater to, and that I go to demographics to, they're in New York, they're in Jersey, they're in Detroit, they're in Texas. That's why I travel a lot. I'm always on the road. It's because their need for it is in the inner cities is just as hard. I was just recently in Jacksonville, invited to the inner city youth, and that was amazing. Trying to get here in Putnam County, mimicry is the best form of flattery, and that happens a lot. And I was in the school system as well, but certain things will keep you from out of that realm. But being able to be a person that can get on their level, that they're comfortable talking to, making sure you're not one-sided, and they do understand that my loyalty lies to their parent and or their liaison, the adult that is over them, and not them. So if I feel like it's something that needs to be said, then I'll make sure that I have that conversation. It's never something that, oh, I'm a safe place, you can come tell me anything, and I'll hold it. If I feel that it needs to be said, it'll be said. And my children understand that, and they're safe with coming to me. But being here in such a small town, everybody has, you all know, I mean, you're here for a very short while. Here, coming from a direct demographic where you push everything under the rug and we don't discuss things, and we're quiet, and let's just hope it goes away. We're It's no longer that ended 20, 30 years ago. That is not the time that we're living in. So not being the time that we're living in right now is definitely having you to be more open, because if we don't teach our children or tell our children, someone in the street will, and they very well may lead us and guide us down the wrong path, and I don't want that for the kids at all.
So with you being in the position that you are, and the parameters of the things that you do, you see a lot of things up close. You see poverty sometimes. You see depression sometimes. You see anxiety, fear. You see death. You see all these things up close and personal from all different sides. How do you manage that? Well, in other words, is it a challenge for you not to take your work home with you? How do you let work be work and V Brown be V Brown? You know what I'm saying? Is it a challenge? Do they often intersect? Is what I'm asking.
Yes, they often intersect. I literally have less than on my social media site, less than 400 or 500 friends on either one of my pages. Reason being is because personal and professional are to never be intertwined. I'm very big on that. And I owe that to Sarge, who told me that some years ago, and it stuck with me. Personal and professional are to never be intertwined, but it still happens without a doubt. I go home and I carry the burdens, but when you carry the burdens, I also know where my help comes from. And you're gonna hear me always revert to the fact that my help comes from God. I cannot carry it alone. So with that being said, if I'm going to pray why I worry, if I'm going to worry why I pray, I take it and I leave it at the altar. And your altar is everywhere you go, so use it. I often tell people that commonly. So I try not to get the two to mix. Do they mix? Very much so. Because I have to go home and become a parent to my own 5 outside of the ramifications of other people in the public. But I like to educate my people in the public with what's going on personally, because I do see poverty. I was once wretched there, not because that's where I grew up from, because we all can come from great backgrounds, but when you deviate against your path and what you were taught, brought up, because I came in a 2-parent home. So I came up in this, that, and the third. I had the proper background. And then anytime I took a detour, it had nothing to do with my parents. And it had nothing to do with my upbringing. It had everything to do with what I chose to do. So what I try to do is when I see it or I recognize it, I try to show the empathy to it. I often don't sympathize, but I'm empathetic to it because I have been there. And I say, hey, let's not travel down this road, that they gave us in English class. Let's take the road less traveled by. That's what I try to do. Is I try to sit there and I intercede. I don't cast judgment in no way, shape. I can't stand when someone does that. That is one of my biggest pet peeves, is because you can't judge that are facts. Now, if it's a fact, it's a fact. And I stand on facts. When I say a fact sheet, I have a log fact sheet. It's like, hey, let's stick to this. But I try to stick to the script. I try to try the spirit by the spirit. And I don't care what it is. And that helps me to be able to humbly go into any situation, where via it be going into the hood, via it be going into the inner city schools, via it be going into the school districts. I know I have an on-off switch, and I know exactly when and where to use it. So that helps me to control it, because I had training well back in high school. Future Business Leaders of America, Miss Sites, shout out to you. She taught me a long time ago what it was to, when I won nationally, number 3 impromptu speaking, because it's just things that just happen. It's life. And all I can do is know that life is going to keep lifing, but God is going to keep Godding. So with that being said, I'm going to keep telling you what I know, and I'm going to keep feeding it to you. And that's all I can do.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about Queen Vinci.
Okay.
I hope I said that right.
You did. You did.
What's the idea behind Queen Vinci? What was the brainchild behind that?
Queen Vinci, I started selling clothes in 2015. It was called Demeanor Apparel. I had a partner. We started selling t-shirts. And when we started doing that, I noticed that there was a demographic, there was a need. We wanted more than McCory's. We wanted more than Pick and Save. Back in the day, that's what we had. We wanted more than Walmart. There was a way to stamp logo. We wanted more than just FUBU. We were just locally owned. So once I left that in 2015, I came back out in 2018 with Queen Vinci. And I saw a need to address all demographics. People like the petite and the smalls and the talls and the handsomes, but what about my beautiful voluptuous queens? I focused on my BVQs, is what I called them. I target my guests. I know my customers. I never once have I've never paid for, people pay for advertisement. I don't do that. Reason being, because word of mouth is the best course of action. I have people that I dress on a daily basis, a weekly basis. Queen Vinci came about because people were saying, I like your style. Where did you get that from? And it was my own thought. Again, mimicry is the best form of flattery, but how can I make it affordable for my people? We can all afford to go in Dillard's and go into the Echo section or a Cool section and get $75, $80 shirts. But how can I make that work for my demographic? And that's what I poured into. So I've had people to tell me that I can't shop from a boutique that has anything that's not selling anything over $75. Well, baby, you rich. Go ahead and do you. If you want to send me the $75, send me the $75. I promise you. I'm only doing it just so I can help my kind, because we can all look nice. You look nice, you feel nice, you walk nice, you dress nice, you move differently. And it doesn't have to break the bank. Seeing as though I was a single mother since 98 with 5 kids. 5 kids. I'm a single mother. You got to figure it out. Living off of $504 and being retired since 2010, coming out of the workforce, you got to figure it out. So I had to figure out how to get these kids dressed. So I first started at home. Charity starts at home. And once I figured it out at home, let's just go ahead and pour it out into the public. Let's go ahead and run with it. And I want to tell all of the entrepreneurs out there that have clothing lines or businesses, please do not in no way, shape, form, or fashion be upset when your very own family and friends don't support your business. They'll push you all day to go and do it. They'll push you all day to say yes, but they've never purchased a shirt, not even shared a video. Like, I mean, like seriously, like I have 37 brothers and sisters. 37. I'm the baby at 43. And ask me how many of them have shopped with Queen Vinci. I can't take it personally. You have to take the personal things out of it. A lot of my stuff goes up north, down south, and I'm perfectly grateful with it. Do I have local people in my small town that shop all day long? They're huge supporters. But on the same note, they're quiet supporters. And that sometimes is like, why you quiet on me? Like, why you ain't say Queen Vinci did that? But on the same note, you got to just take that humbleness because he keeps the blessings flowing. Those are repeat customers. And again, word of mouth. It may get to the right person. Because again, a lot of people try to feel like it's enough time and 24 hours in a day. And a lot of people try to do the same thing in which they think you're doing it. And that's why they go and start, but they don't quite have a finish. It's done before it gets started because they don't understand the peak season and the off season. Because during the time, like the Bible says, prepare for war in the time of peace. I'm going to completely, during my peak season, stock up for those seasons that I'm not selling like I'm supposed to. So that's why I have multiple streams of income called an entrepreneur. Because when one isn't working, you best believe A, B, C, or D is. Something is kicking off for me. So it's making sure that I'm able to do that. Because being epileptic, I'm an big advocate for seizures. It's not easy to get a job, nor is it easy to have people looking at you like you're a charity case. Don't get any type of assistance, didn't want it, and it started at 24. I wasn't born epileptic. It just came out of the blue. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, it sat me down. So having to sit me down and having to figure out, okay, $504, what am I going to do with $504 and 5 kids? I'm not going to do anything unethical. Even though it crossed my mind a couple times. Crossed my mind a couple times. But again, thank God for bringing me back, and get me back on that chart. But again, you want to be able to take what you know. And if I know that I spent XYZ for a shirt, why would I get online and fluctuate it to 70%? That's just not me. I'm a person that goes off guaranteed sales, not projected. Do you hear what I say, Mike? When I say guaranteed sales, not projected, I don't go up. When I post the clothes, that means this is your time to place your orders. By 9 p.m. tonight, I place orders nightly for people with Queen Vinci because you just purchased it. Because I don't have time to assume what you're going to do. There's so many people that I've seen that said I have storages full of clothes and I have all these shoes and things that I need to get rid of. Ventrail's not doing that. I don't have that type of time. But the time that I do have is to go ahead and orchestrate this situation and give you time to order it because I know what's getting ready to come around the corner and I know what you like, I know what you need, and I cater to it and to you. Hence, where Book the Look came into play, where people were just like, okay, can you just personally style me? I absolutely love that the most. I love Queen Vinci, but booking the look where I can just totally just dress somebody like they're my Ken doll or my Barbie doll, I love it.
Okay. Speaking from a fashion person, I kind of evolved into that, I guess, over time. And I realized, because I do t-shirts too, like this is one of my old ones, but this is one of my joints. But I realized that, our clothes is an extension of our attitude or our personality or whatever. And sometimes we rely on the names to validate us and tell people who they should think we are. So I feel you on the whole entrepreneur vibe, because that's exactly what type of time I'm on. being able to create something that's mine. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Put something on my back that put something on my back that was my brainchild, that was God given, and I can take it from a thought to an actual product is super, super dope. What has the process done for you? I mean, you pour out and you pour out and you pour out and you give to other people and you make sure other people are good and straight in whatever situation they may be or circumstance they may be in. But if you had to name one thing that maybe you didn't know prior to going into it, what would you say is the most pronounced thing that you learned about yourself in this whole process that, like I said, that you may not have known about yourself prior to going in?
Prior to going in, me not knowing about myself, I probably would say overhead, because overhead in the fact that people don't know you, but they assume they know you. They are familiar with your name. So, public perception, opening yourself up to the court of public opinion. That would probably be the thing that I did not know about myself. I hear new things about myself and my business every day that I did not know, but I live with me every day. You have to learn to turn it on and turn it off, hear and don't hear, see and don't see. So I would say, again, like I said, that was probably my most pronounced thing, was learning myself, and that I actually do have emotions and I actually do have feelings, and where I used to think I was a pit bull in a skirt, and I still am when I need to be. But it taught me humbleness and being patient. That is what I've took away from any and everything: patience and humbleness, and my go-to, because I'm not looking for the I'm not looking for the stuff. I'm looking for the stuff giver, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm not looking for the stuff. I'm not looking for I want God to provide it to me and give me the natural wit that he's given me since 2010 to turn $1 out of 15 cents. So that has been my ultimate goal, to remain grounded and to remain humble, and to put myself in people's shoes that I necessarily don't have to fit. But in order for me to understand them, I purposely place myself in situations to make sure that I'm understanding what someone can and cannot do, so I can make it work for them, because it worked for me. So
Is it
that's what
is it a struggle for you sometimes? And this may sound like an odd question, but do you always know who you are at all times? Because you're being so many things to so many different people. You're being a mother to some, you're being a sister to others, you're being a confidant to some, you're being a financier maybe to somebody else. You might be you're doing all these different things. So is it a challenge at points to know where that stops and you begin?
it is definitely, most definitely a challenge, because everyone calls on thee. And that's what you pray to be the one that you call on. But on the same note, it's definitely a struggle to get home and check it at the door. I've had to learn here, even recently, through going through therapy. And again, I can say that my Black people don't frown on therapy. My therapist has been one of the best things that I could have gotten over 3 months ago. Here recently, just going twice a week now. It's being able to separate Ventrail from V, because we're two different entities. So when I go home, I check it at the door, because I do have to be a mother with this crew, and I do have to be a motivator for this crew, and I do have to be a liaison for this crew, and I do have to file divorce papers for this crew, and I do have to make resumes for this crew. So I get what you're saying, and it's totally hard. But through my therapist, I have learned, so when I clock out, Mike, I clock out. So when they see me, that's why I don't have many friends on my actual social platform, because I don't need you intertwining my personal with my professional, because I got to learn to be me. Because if I'm not being me, authentically me, that I can't give you 100% work that I know I can turn out. I can't be 110%. So I've learned to listen to my body. When my body says, hey, it's time to digress, it's time to digress and fall back. And fall back doesn't mean fall off, Mike. It just means to fall back and take a
Right.
breather for self. Mental. I value mental health. So with that being said, it makes me say, you know what? I know what you're going through. I've been there. I've done that. But I'm going through it too. And being a strong person, that one that everybody thinks is strong, who do we lean on? It's
Right.
like I can say God, God, Lord of hosts all day long, but do I actually have somebody checking on me as much as I'm checking on them? Not necessarily. Not but is it a negative? No, because I'm an introvert, extrovert. So they know when to come into play. They kind of wait to try to fill me out to see when they can let me intercede into her circle because I'm feeding off of her. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can't shoot me a text and say, hey, nothing, I love you. I get those often. I love you. I get those inboxes from random people. I don't know you, but you give me strength to keep going because I've had a multitude of things happen in my life, but with that multitude comes gratitude, and I'm thankful for it.
Let's talk about family. Um, you kind of touched on family a little bit earlier, but what role does family play in everything that you have going on? Where do they
My
play?
family is I cultivate the family that I created, not I came from.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you focus on what you came from, you will neglect some things that we all know that we learned back then don't work right now.
Right.
So what I have to do is I cultivate the family I created. So with me knowing I have a 25-year-old graduated college student that works for the city of Palm Coast, and then I have one that's in college right now. Then I have a number 3 in the state that's a wrestler who's doing her thing so she can get ready to go off to college. I push education. Education is key. It all kind of works hand in hand. And so my family is a big help, but they're a silent big help, meaning they're prayer warriors from the outside. It's like they literally, I'm the baby girl, but you would not believe how many will call upon me for assistance. And I'm going to be there with a drop of a dime. I'm there. I'm that spokesperson. I'm that voice where that's you. That's what you do. Well, what is it that you do? It's like I said, I have a cold clothing line, 37 siblings that I know of because it's more than that. But I can count on my first 10 hands and take down 5 how many of them bought something from the line.
Wow.
And it's just, you can't take it so hard. You just can't. Now, when I have retreats, some may do it this way, but some may be, I'm still into Dickies and lug shoes. And I'm not into, your fashionable, bright, festive, outfits that you may have. It's not that I'm not supporting you. I'm praying with and for you, but we don't look at that mentally that way. Mike, when you look at your numbers and you're like, okay, this should be going way better than what it is. It's a process. So
Right.
we have to learn to not fault our family for our vision because their vision is not ours. They have their own thing going on. Some people are really cut for 9 to 5. Some people that are entrepreneurs really need to go back to 9 to 5. Like I'm just being honest because customer service is really big to me. When I walk into with my booth, we'll get to that. But with my entertainment service, I am such a stickler with that. But sticking back to family because I'll fold off quick. So I'm glad that you know how to ask questions to keep me in line. Good deal with you. But family is one that we have a group chat. We're not the ones that overstep. We don't intercede. We intercede through prayer. If you need me, call me. That's the extent because be mindful, I'm 43. So my siblings are old enough to be my parents. So by the time I came along, I'm from old school. So I look very new school, but sometimes I say retch around here and get me that remote there. I get country. I tell my children, not my children, but children, get here. I forget their names. The same thing that my mom did with us because it was 10 of us in one home. Wow. So it was like 5 bedrooms and it's 5 boys, 5 girls. It's like she was stretched thin, but I learned from her how to do it. So my kids right now stretch me thin. I literally train them. I have made it my uttermost business for you to get out. And when you do, don't come back for nothing other than a visit. Because that's how my mother trained me. When you leave, you can come to visit, but you can't stay. Because I know that I've instilled in you what it is that you need to be able to make it. My son often quotes people and tells them all the time. My mother tells me all the talking ain't doing is no good. It's about action. So
Right.
I look at my kids. My biggest flex will never be money, cars, houses. It'll be my children. You can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears.
That's a fact.
And that's a fact. So that's the way that I do it when it comes to my family. I focus on my 5 and anybody else that God gives me to focus on. I do that. But ironically, I listen to him first and foremost. But charity starts at home. It starts at my own stock. And when I start to see it flourish, that gives me the next and the next breath that I need to keep going.
That's a fact. It's to your point, I talk about that all the time. A lot of times you have to go away and then come back in order to get the recognition that you probably should get. Like, I often refer to the Bible where there was a time when Jesus went home, went to his hometown, and the people didn't accept him because they were and that's what it is that people are so familiar with where you were when the last time they saw you. So even Jesus, when he went there, the last time we saw you, you were a carpenter. Your father was a carpenter, you know what I'm saying? And you're gonna come here and you say you're gonna heal some people, and people just kind of like brushed them off. And then, the Bible says that he was only able to do a few miracles in his own hometown where the people should have embraced him the most. And I always find that very interesting. A lot of times you have to go to another state, sometimes another country, sometimes, whatever, and then work your way back. You know what I'm saying? And that I find that's always been an interesting thing to me, because that's something that I have dealt with and deal with, too. So I definitely can identify with what you're saying. Let's talk about your entertainment movement.
Right.
What is that all about?
The New Life 360 photo booth. That is, the little spin booth that everybody that's the new trend. Everything people got to realize, when it's trending, get in it. But if it's trending and get in it, it needs to first be in your spirit. You have to be able to turn your passion into profit. So I've always, since a very young age, class clown. My mom was completely upset when I came home. Out of all the things that I could have got voted for in the yearbook, you got voted class clown. Okay, yes, I did. I brighten up the room when I get in there. End of discussion. And it's like, hey, I brought a smile to their face. That's just me. So if you don't have that personality, some people don't have that je ne sais quoi. They just don't. It's not in them. I used to literally go to school just to brighten people's day. I've been hustling and selling since my sister Nita B was working at the Handyway. I was going in there 6:00 in the morning, taking all those hot sausages and Snicker bars, because I'm finna make me some coins. I've been doing it for a very long time. So with my entertainment business, I know how to sell shampoo to the ball, ice to Eskimo. You got to be able to do that, to sell yourself, because if you don't believe in you, then who will? What sets my entertainment booth aside from anybody else's is me and my partner, who I employed, my homegirl. She works with me hand in hand. Some people look at her like snarl. People literally look at me, Mike, whether you know it or not, and think that I think that I'm stuck up and better than the next and can't sweat and whatever. And so they get me in their event, and it's okay. You hired me for your event, so you didn't just hire me to be a wall and push a button and tell you spin, and it just goes with no music. Like, if you don't have music, I have expectations. So I go there and I meet the DJ, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? I'm V. It's me and you tonight. We finna make or break this party, this event, this bar mitzvah, this church function. I done been somewhere everywhere. I just left elementary school and got a church next week. So you got to be able to be a chameleon and fit whatever scenario. And simply because I'm able to do that, I get there and I lighten the room. Because a lot of things are tense. You know, you go to parties and people are in their now nice gowns and have their face beat to the gods, and
Right.
they see this booth and what is this? Even down to the older people, the pastors. I'm not getting up there. I got the vertigo. Me too. But you can get up here. You know, it's how you
Yeah.
talk to people. So it's actually fun. I actually bring my customer service. You don't just get my booth, you get me. For whatever time you booked me, you get me. And I'm one of a kind and very hard to find, but real in the field. So it's wherever I need to be. And, you know, I've had even our former mayor here called Flag, our churches, House of God. I've had Mosley Middle School, Mosley Elementary. I've had some of the best events, but coming from all walks of life. My Hispanics in Crescent City, like they're like my new family now. It's like when I go to Crescent City, I may be in a front room, but guess what? They are having a ball. That's what I'm there for. Whether I'm in a bedroom, a front room, or if I'm in a multi-seating facility, I'm going to do what it is you called me in to do. And that's to entertain in the best way possible and bring smiles to everyone, to the least one. I'm not treating the janitor no different than I am the CEO. Everybody's the same. So, and that's just how I go about it, because I'm not hell bent on titles when Vins don't match. So I look at you like you should look at me, and I don't cast judgment.
That's a fact. So tell me what in this whole process, what has been the best? If you can name one thing, what has been the best advice you've received, and what has been the worst advice you've received?
The worst advice I have received is give up.
Mm-hmm.
And giving up and let it go and just, you know, let the city take care of you. I can't do that because I know the word. And the word says, I have not because I ask not.
Mm-hmm.
And if I've given you many gifts and talents, you're to use them. My mother's gravestone says, may the works I've done speak for me. You don't have to know me. I stand beside people in the gas station and they are talking about Ventrell as though I'm not her. But I laugh and I smile because you don't know me from a can of paint. And it could be good talking. Then I turn around and say, hey, how are you? I'm V. They're like, oh my God, that's you. Yes, that's me. I'm not a small town celebrity. I get talked about just like the next person. I'm not exempt. They talked about God. Why would they not talk about me? I try to tell people that all the time. So my best advice is to don't listen to the naysayers. I had to learn to not listen to the court of public opinion, to tune it out. Don't read comments. Don't allow people to send you things in your inbox, your messenger, or negative comments. If you want to give me feedback personally. I'm one of the ones brought up on biblical principle. If you have an alt, go to that person. So come to me if there's an issue, then we can talk like grown people. Don't come to me on no social site. I tell people that all the time. I beg and plead their pardon to not come to me on no social site, because when you come at me, you know, I'm still working on public relations. God's working on me. And I try to tell them, don't just be quiet. You know, talk to me personally. Don't bring me here. Not if we're not talking. And because PR is everything. So I have that to worry about the older that I get. And then I also have my older children that are looking at me. What is the most positive thing that I've had from this is people meeting all walks of life. Because being an introverted extrovert, I still love people. I am a people person. Just like God moved about the just as well as the unjust, I draw people. I'm tattooed. I don't know if you noticed, from head to toe. Mm-hmm. But on Sundays, I can go in church covered up from head to toe, and no one would never know. You got to know how to on and off when I'm singing gospel versus when I'm over at the party just Saturday night helping them with Kane Wayne with it. It does not matter. God went to many synagogues and did what it is he needs to do. So I personally go into the sections they tell me I can't go into because it's not me. God is opening those doors. And if he opens those doors, he's going to give me the provisions to do what it is that I need to do. And I keep meeting new people. I used to have this thing where I don't want to meet new people. Yes, you do. New people means new socialites, means new elbows that you're rubbing with, means new people that are going to support you and pass your name around. And I don't desire to be this multi-million-dollar brand name. If that's just what God deems to be, yes. But if I reach one or two, just like the Bible says, if I could just touch one or two, I've done my job. I go home and I smile. Whether I get a review one day or I don't, whether they tell me personally or I don't, I'm just thankful that I was able to put that smile on people's face. I do it, via it be clothes, via it be the youth, via it be the booth, via it be divorces, via it be resumes. I got the job. Some that have still had it since 2010. I'm here to help. I don't think people understand how much I love to help. But the game now is being sold and not told, and they kind of get mad at you, Mike, because you used to give it to them for free, but they didn't want to listen. But now you put a price tag on it because I can, and then they don't want it no more. But God give me who to give it to free. I give more free skis than I do charging. But on the same note, I got to be able to take care of home because they don't understand that this is my livelihood. They go to a 9 to 5 every day. This is how I pay the bills and take care of me and mine. And people don't grasp that. They just want everything for free and to share everybody. They'll share, and you know that for a fact. They'll share Ice Cube, Plies, all around these platforms, but won't share me and you. And we right here in the same town. And you in your city, and I'm in my city doing the same thing, but they gonna clap for somebody else that started it after you. But watch everything you do. Again, mimicry is the best form of flattery. I stay humbled and I say, Lord, I thank you. Because what you got for me is for me. And slow money is good money to me. Don't get me coming.
Okay. That's a fact. Okay. All right. We are on Let's Take a Walk, and I'm here with Miss V Brown. She is a CEO. She is a business owner. She is an entrepreneur extraordinaire. You name it, she does it. She's a youth liaison. Listen, she wears so many hats and does so many things. It's only so much time in a day. But so I admire you and I take my hat off to you for, the things you're able to accomplish. With that being said, what would you say is the most common misconception that people have about you?
The most common misconception people have about me is that I am, I would say it would probably be two because I've heard it a lot. She's mean or she's a rattlesnake, and I'm neither. I may have a RBF, a resting BITC face, but I also have that smile. Like if you literally, a lot of times I'm working. If I'm walking behind my kids, my phones too are in my hand and I'm doing something for someone. And if they stop and talk, hey baby, hey sugar, then they be thrown. And then I have this deep raspy voice. And so they're like, the misconception is she's just mean and thinks she's all this and that. And little do they know I'm country as a syrup sandwich. But that ain't for me. I'm from the country. I mean, I got pigs in my backyard, horses. I look at the peacocks, taste my children. I find everything inevitably funny, especially when they go down in my life. I laugh at myself to keep from crying. And that ain't what people don't understand. So you can't beat me telling my story. I can tell it better than me. You can tell it better than me. So it kind of gets them upset when I laugh before they do mine. And they, how can she just do that? She can take blow off the block. I get knocked down 9 times. You best believe I'm getting up 10. Knock me down 10 more, I'm going to get up 10 more. Because I know a God who sits high and sits low. He ain't going to put more of me on than I can bear. But I know that I'm a witness for somebody. Somebody outside is using me as a vessel. And I'm his willing vessel. I don't mind. Come what may. Whatever he sends my way, I may say, now that hurt. Take me off the strongest surgeon list. I don't want to be on it no more, Lord. But then guess what? I'm back on it 2-3 months later. There it is. God, you just gonna keep trying on me, but it's okay. Because if he brought me to it, he'll bring me through it. So I literally, sacrilegious people would call it hypocrisy. I'm no way, shape, form, or fashion a hypocrite. I tell them all the time, baby, before we start anything, we need to say a prayer before we take this shot down our throat, or before we get on this road. Before we need to pray and tell them to anoint this, because we don't know. And people laugh because see how you laugh, and but that's just my demeanor. We got to pray over everything. I don't know. That's just me. We need to pray. My first go-to is let's pray. And hey, if you don't want to pray about it, then we don't need to be doing it. How you gonna pray? That's a hypocrite. That's got no, it ain't. No, it ain't. The Bible, God turned water into wine. He said, "Don't be drunk." If know the scripture. And I'm not a drinker, none whatsoever. And I'm licensed for for whatever else I do. I'm licensed, so just know that I have a script that I am allowed to do whatever. But because I have anxiety, so before I get ready to go into these big venues with thousands of people, I gotta calm my nerves. And I don't want to necessarily be on a crazy pill to do that. So I'm scripted to go in and take a woosah moment. So when I tip out with my finger like we do in the church, and I tip back in, and I smell a little heavier than what I did before, people appreciate it. Because see, she's authentic. But it's only once they meet me and they get in my area. She's so down to earth. Yes, I am. I am probably flatter than 4 flat tires, and you just don't know. But that's only if you get in my area. Everybody not permitted. My spirit irritates some people's demons.
Right.
So what can I do about that?
Okay. I definitely can appreciate where you're coming from. A lot of the things that you're saying, I'm on the same, wavelength. I'm on some of the same type of time that you are, that you're speaking of, being an entrepreneur myself. And you just like you said, you just kind of got to press forward and do what you got to do. And sometimes that means inadvertently offending
Right.
others. You know what I'm saying?
But
that's what it is, I was talking to my wife today, and I had a thought. We were talking about something, and I said, that let me make sure I say it right. The work, it's one thing to be, I want to say it right how I said it. What's worse than not being able to control a situation is not being able to control a situation that you don't agree with.
Right.
So you may see something that's happening in front of you and you don't really have a hand in it. You can't control whether it goes left or right, but it doesn't bother you because of whatever. You know what I'm saying? She wore the green dress. She wore the green dress when she maybe should have wore the blue dress. You know what I'm saying? You can't control it, but it doesn't really move you one way or the other. Right. Now, on the flip side, you got a situation where you got a person, a child or something, maybe headed down the wrong road. You know what I'm saying? And not only can you not influence the situation, you don't agree with it. So you don't agree with the direction. So that makes it even tougher to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're doing things, when you're being successful, and when you're making movement, and you're doing anything that's positive, sometimes people are upset because they can't control it. They can't take credit for making it happen, and they can't stop it. So those are the 3 things that haters.
Yes, say what they really are. They're haters. Well, we don't call them secret lovers, because they really don't hate us. They love us. They just don't know how to tell us yet. We're going to change the narrative. They're no longer haters. They're secret lovers. They don't know how to tell us yet, Mike.
Got you. See, that's really the MO of the secret lover. You know what I mean? So I definitely I definitely can relate, to what you're saying. Um, Having the upbringing that you had. Now I only have like two more questions. The upbringing that you alluded to many times. Um, how has that helped you in the business in the marketplace? Like being able to, um, like you said, rub elbows with people from all walks of life or whatever. Having the coming from the country, as you said,
Right.
and the humble beginnings and all that. How is that an event? How has that been an advantage for you going
Okay,
forward?
coming from, and like I said, when I say PK's kid, my mother was Lucille and Ed, and they were country bumpkin working in the cotton fields, Florida furniture working, government cheese, real food stamp clipping type situations prior to me. But when I came along, I was child number 10. So things had changed. Mother had built homes. Father and them had started generational wealth. So I had came into a situation where I had siblings that were older than me. So they were able to pour into me. Not just one of them, but all of them poured into me. This is the baby girl. Sometimes they have an Oedipus complex forgetting that I'm not 12, I'm 43.
Right.
Like you can't do that no more. It's like we done bumped heads, like that before. But that same upbringing, my children, all of my siblings are literally, and I'm not bragging, they are something and somebody. For one, because God don't make no junk. But when I say they have the titles and the VINs match, they are just that. So I had them to look at and to watch and to mimic my godparents from Jacksonville. When I say PK's kid, I was in church Monday through Sunday, like literally. So when it was time to, and that upbringing kind of scarred me because it was better to wed than to burn. That's another topic for another time. But that really like mentally will do something to you too. But on the same note, it has molded me into who I am. So I can walk with all walks of life. When I say I've seen it all, I've heard it all, I've experienced it all, I can literally say, and what he spared me from, I have seen it or heard about it. But I'm still not casting judgment. If I haven't took anything away, is you are no better than anybody in which you're talking to or in front of. The minute you start to think that you're better than, is when he will put you in a position. And in that
Mhm.
same situation of what you shouldn't, wouldn't, and couldn't do, and he will show you quickly how to humble yourself because he'll put you there. And he's done it to me a couple times. But with that being said, being able to put me there a couple times has kept me rooted and grounded. I'll eat a brick anytime I get that pit bull with that skirt on. You might not even know what a brick is, Mike, but that's what they eating when they locked up in cell number 1, 2. And you ain't got nothing but oodle noodles and some corn chips and a packet of
Mhm.
hot sauce. You got to mix that thing together, and that's called a humbling meal for me. And
Okay.
I eat that. And my kids are like, Mama, you ain't in cell block 1. But my point is, it's to make sure that I'm here for them. A lot of people think that my children are not an obligation. They're mine. So I don't make them feel like what I'm doing for them, I'm sacrificing them. And yeah, I do. I crawl so they can walk. But I brought them here. They didn't ask to be here. So I don't
Okay.
make them uh a burden. I look at them as my reason to push. I'm going just that much harder. That's why I can't wait till that 13 this year. Go, get out. I'm eagerly saying, spread your wings and fly, because regardless of what I've taught you, you gonna bump your head. That's inevitable. That is inevitable. You're going to bump your head, and when you bump your head, you gonna remember what I had done said couple months ago and years. You're gonna apply it the same way I did to my mom, and you're gonna be like, Mama, you was right. I'm getting it right now with my 25-year-old. I got a whole grandson. No nobody ever see because I'm not hell bent on no babies. That ain't never been me. Now financially, I'm there. Christmas, y'all ain't got to buy nothing. I got it. But when he get a little older and can talk in clear cut sentences, bring him on by. But all the baby stuff, I ain't in. I ain't into it because I'm not baby happy. mindful, 17 in high school, married. Who does that? Me. That was me. You know, PK kids, preachers' kids, people in your ear telling you what you need to be doing. I looked up and had a whole wedding, and I don't recall. You know, so but that's just the way it happens. So it has helped me to be able to look at any and every situation past the tree line. I don't just stop and see it for what I think it is or what I want it to be. I see things for what it is, what it could be, and I'm not thinking about tomorrow because that's what the Bible says. Leave tomorrow for itself. But I do plan. But if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. I'm not telling him what I want to do. I'm just giving him a non-repetitive prayer. He can't stand that. So when I'm sitting there, he can't. If you asked him about chicken and fish yesterday, why are you going to pray about it today? That means you didn't believe him for what he was going to do yesterday. So I keep moving. My prayers are something totally different, but they're not redundant. Because again, if you brought me to it, you'll bring me through it. So it's like, okay, God, I love you. It's in your word. Your words to me cannot come back void. Your answers to me are yes, no, and not right now. That's it. That's all I'm accepting. And you do have to remind him of his word. He didn't say repetitive prayer. So I often remind him of his words, and that's how I've made it thus far. And it's never easy. I just make it look easy, Mike. I make it look easy. I tell people that all the time. I am human just like them. I bleed just like them. I get in the shower and cry just like them. I get in the car and ride around the whole gas out just like them. Because sometimes life is lifing. But that doesn't mean I don't shake back. It may not take me 2 weeks like it take you 2 weeks. And don't walk up to me crying if I ain't crying with you. And that's what if I didn't call you crying, why you getting on the phone? I can't stand that. You know, Mike, how they do you. Hit me on the phone. You all right, baby? You know, because I don't care what you saw. Do it sound like I'm concerned? Because I don't care. I have an I don't care attitude because what they eat don't make me go to the bathroom at all. And they're not pouring into my edifice, into my home, into my children, or into my life. So I don't care. I literally live my life with, I don't care. What happened now? Child, I forgot. People tell me stuff and it don't stick. I promise you, Mike, it don't stick. They swear it stick. It don't stick. Memory bad. I call my children all their names but the right one. Memory bad. Memory real bad. I don't recall nothing but my finances. Now I'm going to stay on top of them. All day, every day.
You are
my
too
finances
much.
And my health.
You are too much. You are too much.
I'm just who I am. I'm definitely who I am. I'm an open book, but I'm no easy read.
I heard that. Okay, so so this is my last official question. This is a question that I ask every single guest. And once I ask it, I just want you to take a moment, think about it, and give me the most honest and transparent answer that you can give me. Before shout out Matt Denegal, shout out Aisha Johnson, shout out Nate Wren, shout out SG Evora, and everybody that's tuned in, that's watching right now. Shout out to y'all, man. Please go out. Well, just a side note, I want y'all to go to YouTube and check this out and hit the subscribe and the bell icon, man. We're trying to get our subscribership up. So please, after this, go to YouTube and hit that subscribe button and help a brother out.
Please.
And I also have, by the grace of God, he's allowed me to now monetize with this platform. So I've had enough viewers. Thank you very much. You guys have supported and you guys have been there, man. And so now I'm at a point where I can kind of build, a financial foundation to kind of make this platform even better than what it is. So there's a star icon in the comment section at the top of the icon section. It's the comment section. You want to hit that star. It's like 99 cents. But you can, do it as many times as you
do it a lot.
But 1 star is 99 cents, man. And
paying for.
You
Help a brother out.
know, hit me up, man. If you're digging this platform or whatever. So without that out the way, this is the last final question of the night. The question is this: what would have to happen in your life, if it hasn't happened already, for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
Specifically, success with me is, again, like I said, you can keep the fame, give me the fortune. And that's not necessarily because I'm already rich. And people fail to think that rich is always monetization. The love of money is the root of all evil, but money is what we need to make it through. I'm living here in Florida and just got my insurance bill and wanted to flip all the way out. But what can we do but pay it? So with that being said, success is being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, without breaking the bank or putting myself in any financial strain, or my children are leaving anything behind for them to have to clean up. So when I say that, my success is being continually debt free. Right now, I'm literally debt free. I had my first home at 22 years old. And then my mother passed away, and at 32 acquired another property. So having to, you gotta keep in mind, 22, 32 years old, having to pay property tax and homeowners insurance, people are not talking like you're talking. They don't even know what that is. But I've always been one of the people that have said those are things, as much as we say we own something, you don't own it if you don't pay what these people in the state that you live in want you to pay. Because it'll be here today and gone tomorrow. I done seen it. But see, it won't happen with me. So I want him to continue to keep me with the mind and just the mindset and the wit to be able to pay my bills. That's it. And I don't even call them bills. I call them responsibility, because I don't create anything. I don't create the debt. I don't need the newest G-Wagon. I rode around in my 2002 Ford Expedition till it told me to get out. And it put me down. But that's just how I am. People don't understand that I'm frugal. But I'm frugal for very many reasons, because I done been broke before. See, people don't understand my broke may be different from your broke. See,
right.
And that's just the difference. It's like I'm over here I'm not worried about the light bill that's $100 and something or overages. And I'm not judging you that do. God knows I wanted to give me some help. Go, Lord, send me something so I can get some overages, or somebody come take my lack. But you can't, because you can't help what was passed down to you from generation. I just want God to be able to allow me and my success to be able to maintain and continue to grow my success for not only me but any and everyone attached to me. You didn't even have to come out of my womb, but any and everything attached to me, God allow me to be a vessel to help them to grow. That's what I want as success. I want us to not be crabs in the barrel, but I want us to help each other grow.
Wow. Said a mouthful right there. Listen. My ideas of success I've been sharing here lately is bridging the gap between what I'm supposed to be doing and doing it.
Exactly.
That's simply my vision of success. I want to thank. Well, before I go into that, is there anything? No, let me back up. If somebody heard something on this interview or whatever that resonated with them, if they wanted advice, if they wanted some guidance, maybe they're doing some of the same things that you're doing, and maybe it's not progressing the way that they envisioned, and so maybe they want advice or whatever. How can they get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me through New Life Consulting, Queen Vinci. They all have their own lines. Queen Vinci, New Life Consulting, New Life Booth 360. any one of those inboxes. You can even inbox VZV. She's perfectly fine with you inboxing her about business. Will I redirect you? Probably not, because if you're coming in and you're talking about business, I will talk to you right there. I'm just that approachable. People think that I'm not. So I'm very much approachable. So if you see my Facebook page, VZV, and you want to talk to me on my Facebook page about business and helping you grow, I am all for that. I want to see us as a people do better. So don't feel like I'm gun shy when you're asking me questions, or you need to just simply, get a prayer through, have someone to talk to, have someone to help you to navigate murky waters. I'm there. I'm that person. That's why I'm a consultant. Like literally, I would prefer you, VZV Brown, message me, say, hey, boom. That's how you grow friendships. I don't have 5,000 friends on my social media because I don't know 5,000 people that I'm sitting there literally talking to. But it doesn't mean that I can't grow if you're there for what you're supposed to be there for. I'm not there for the drama or the mess. So I have the spirit of discernment, so I'll be able to seek that. But also my number is on a public platform, 386-316-7013. Now don't start randomly calling me because I will block you. I'm an avid blocker. But if you if you need to talk to me, Queen Vinci, all of my businesses have the same number. You inbox me, message me, I will get back to you. Cool. My email, Queen Vinci at Yahoo, New Life 360 at Yahoo. Everything is going to come straight to me. And you can contact me and talk to me about any and everything. And I promise you, I can get you where you need to go. No problem.
Her journey and that she's experienced and the things that she's gone through as an entrepreneur and mother and so on and so forth. So many hats. I just want to thank you for, to come on and share with us, and because I definitely learned a lot about you. I learned a lot about the process. Definitely learned that that we have things in common when it comes to, business and the whole place, thing. I definitely I share some of the same, thought processes that you do. I just want to thank you again for coming on, man. And I want you to know that this is an open forum or open invitation. I'm sorry. So if there's ever anything that you want to promote, anything that you got coming up, anything that you just want to air out, let me know, and, we'll make it happen. Just consider Let's Take a Walk, a stop on your campaign trail, so to speak.
I would take that most definitely, and the same goes with me. If I can help you, and even Swap has never been a swindle, so whatever I can help you with, we can help each other. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, and we get it flourishing. We see our people come from behind and start using their gifts and stop sitting on them, and that's what we need to stop doing.
Absolutely. I thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime this platform is meant for small business owners, independent artists, anybody who's trying to do something to impact community and culture.
We're froze. I think we got interrupted. If you all can see me, thank you all for joining and tuning in. Please follow Mike. please follow Mike, and follow God as well as follow me, and see where we can get and where we need to be. I'm going to leave because I don't know what happened.